Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be discussing topic number 1, Introduction to Semantics of the course EEN 3504, Semantics. In this topic, the focus is going to be on the following areas: linguistic semantics, what is meaning, different aspects of meaning, and nature of meaning. So to begin with, linguistics semantics. When we're looking at linguistic semantics, first of all, we need to know what linguistic semantics is all about, how this term is defined. So we're going to look at a definition that has been provided by Finnegan and Besnier, and this definition is found in the book that they published in 1989 on page 173. They define linguistic semantics as the study of the systematic ways in which languages structure meaning, especially in words and sentences. So this means that there is a systematic way in which words and sentences are structured. Okay, for one to be able to get meaning of something, to get a meaning of a word, there is language. Languages follow a certain structure. So in this way, linguistic semantics is mainly concerned with the study of meaning of words and sentences. Sometimes when you look at a sentence, when you're given a sentence, you do not look for the meaning of individual words that are provided in a sentence. You look at a sentence as a whole. So for you to come up with the meaning of a sentence, you look at how a sentence has been structured. So this is the reason why Finnegan and Besnier are defining linguistic semantics as a systematic ways in which languages structure meaning, especially in words and sentences. But if you're just given a word to define, or if you are asked to provide the meaning of a word, this is sometimes straightforward. But when it comes to a meaning of a sentence, sometimes you have to see how a sentence itself has been structured. You also have to look at other ways as well, the meaning of individual words. But you wouldn't come up with the meaning of a sentence by having in mind the meaning of each and every individual word that has been provided in a sentence itself. And now we're moving on to look at what meaning is all about. So for us to talk about what meaning is all about, we need to know the differences between the phrase to mean, which is in this case is regarded as an infinitive, and also what the word meaning means. Okay, so here we see that the words to mean and meaning are used in many contexts and are used for different purposes. So for us to be able to see what to mean means and also what meaning is all about, we need to see how the word mean as well as the word meaning are used in different contexts. Here I have in mind the way we find words in a dictionary. For instance, if you look a word up, a word such as perplexity in a dictionary, you will find that perplexity is a word that means the state of being puzzled. So the word perplexity means the state of being puzzled. So in other words, it implies that perplexity equals the state of being puzzled. Okay. To illustrate this further, in another example, let's consider the word rush. And when you look this word up again in the dictionary, you will find that rush has, two meanings. It does not only have one meaning, but it has other meanings. Okay, so it is possible that when you look words up in the dictionary, you find that there's a word may just mean one thing, but other words may have several meanings, just like we are seeing with the word rush. So the word rush means impetuous, and it also means skin irritation. To illustrate further the meanings of the infinitive to mean and also the meaning of the word meaning, we also need to see how we use the word mean, and also how we use the word meaning, and also how we use the word meant, okay, when we engage in conversations with other people. Firstly with the word mean, when we are explaining things to our friends and so on, sometimes we end up saying or telling our friends that I did not mean this, but I meant that. Okay, like we see in C, you can say I did not mean that he is incompetent, he's just inefficient. Or the meaning of the cross as a symbol is complex. And then I meant to bring you my paper but left it at home. Okay, so this is how we use the word mean, and also how we use the word meaning. And then lastly, how the word meant is also used, in different contexts. So when you mean something, it means that you like the person to get exactly what you're talking about. And this is why you end up telling a friend that I did not mean this, or I meant that, or the meaning of this word is this and not that. Alright? We'll move on. Continuing with our topic, especially the subtopic of what meaning is all about. So what is meaning? Sometimes to arrive at a meaning of something, okay, we need to also consider other things, other aspects of meaning. Because we have seen, from the previous slide, that people may have different interpretations of things, or a word itself may have different meanings. Okay? So there are different interpretations that linguists attach to the word meaning. According to Finnegan and Besnier, because linguistics aims at explaining precisely how languages are structured and used, it is important to distinguish among the different ways of interpreting the word meaning. Okay, so they consider as something crucial to distinguish, among the different ways of interpreting the word meaning. Okay, they have this in mind because sometimes to arrive at a meaning of something, we may need to consider certain truth conditions. Okay, we need to consider certain truth conditions, and we also need to consider word knowledge, because sometimes we arrive at a meaning of something depending on whether a statement or a sentence is talking about a fact, or whether there are some truths that can be determined by a given sentence. And sometimes we can also determine the meaning of something depending on the knowledge that we know. Okay, and this knowledge is being classified as word knowledge. So in order to explain this further, let's consider the following sentences. Okay, the first sentence is talking about I went to the store this morning, and all dogs are animals. For us to arrive at the meaning of the first one, I went to the store this morning, and also for us to consider the meaning of all dogs are animals, we need to have in mind those two types of ways of determining meaning that we talked about in the previous slide, the truth conditions as well as the word knowledge. So for us to know more about I went to the store this morning, you may want to ask yourself, did this individual indeed went to the store this morning? Okay, is there any truth behind this sentence, I went to the store this morning? And then going to sentence G, all dogs are animals, we may have to use our word knowledge in order to know whether all dogs are animals. So the truth condition in sentence F may depend on whether the speaker did what is being implied in the sentence, that is, whether he or she really went to the store that particular morning, but not the words themselves. Whereas the truth in sentence G depends on our word knowledge, as I've indicated earlier on. So what we're trying to see here is that there are different aspects of meaning, okay? For us to arrive at the meaning of a sentence, to arrive at the meaning maybe of a word, we need to consider other aspects of meaning. Okay, so there are different aspects of meaning that we need to take into consideration for us to know exactly what people are talking about. Okay, so these aspects of meaning include the following. We have the semantic knowledge, pragmatic knowledge, as well as word knowledge, as we saw in the previous example, example G, which was talking about all dogs are animals. Okay, so let's see how semantic knowledge may help someone to arrive at the meaning of a word, or to arrive at the meaning of a sentence, and even to arrive at the meaning of a whole section, a whole paragraph. Okay, semantic knowledge concerns what words mean, how these meanings combine in sentences to form sentences. So it concerns what words mean, how these meanings combine in sentences to form sentence meanings. So here I have in mind an example of the word bank. Okay, the word bank. In the first place, what part of speech is this word? What part of speech is this word? Think about it. You will see that bank is a word that has two different parts of speech. The word bank can be used as a noun, and bank can also be used as a verb, as we'll see in the next slide. And then when you have bank as a noun and also bank being used as a verb, what are their meanings? Okay, so think about some of the meanings of the word bank. When bank is used as a noun, it may have several meanings. And here I have three meanings in mind. Okay? In the first place, bank may mean a bank of a river or a bank of a canal. A bank may also mean a financial institution that holds overdrafts. You know, we always talk about going to the bank when it's month end, or even anytime you want to get some money from the bank. So the word bank may imply a financial institution. And then the word bank can also be interpreted as a bank of lights or switches, and so on. Okay? And when bank is used as a verb, it also has several meanings. It may mean to deposit money. So for instance, somebody may say, I have banked the money that you gave me earlier on in the morning. It may also mean to travel with one side higher than another round a curve. And it may also mean to conduct the business of banking, or to base one's hopes on something. Okay, you've ever heard people talking about, I was banking on that idea, okay, or I was banking on what you had indicated earlier on. That's why I've never done something up to now. Okay, so bank as a word may be used in different ways. It may be used as a noun, and it may also be used as a verb. And we've also seen that when it is used as a noun, it has several meanings, different meanings from the ones that we can see when the word itself is being used as a verb. Okay? So we've seen what semantic knowledge is all about through the illustrations of how the word bank may be used in different ways. Now we're coming to pragmatic knowledge. Okay? We can arrive at a meaning of a word depending on how that word is used in different contexts. We can also arrive at the meaning of a sentence depending on how a person is using the sentences in different contexts. So pragmatic knowledge is all about how sentences are used in different contexts and how context affects the interpretation of the sentence. So pragmatic knowledge is always associated with the context in which something is used, a context in which a sentence is used. Okay, consider the question that we have below. Isn't it hot in here? Isn't it hot in here? When somebody utters a sentence like this one, isn't it hot in here? What does that person mean? Think about it. What does that person mean? There are several meanings that can be associated with that, utterance. Isn't it hot in here? In the first place, one may say that the person is saying, isn't it hot in here, to imply that he or she would like the people who are in the building or the people who are in the room to open the window. So it may imply I want a window open. Okay, it may also imply that I've just arrived and haven't anything more interesting to say. Okay, sometimes it happens. When people don't have anything interesting to say, they may just utter something. Okay, and then the utterance may also mean that I think it is hot in here, or do you agree with me? Do you think it is also hot in here, the way I'm thinking or the way I'm seeing it? Okay, so that expression is also telling us that the meaning of a sentence may depend on the pragmatic knowledge. It may also depend on the context in which a particular sentence is uttered. Okay, now moving on to word knowledge. Apart from using semantic knowledge and also apart from using pragmatic knowledge, We may also need to consider what knowledge for us to arrive at a meaning of something, a meaning of a word, or even a meaning of a sentence.